It feels good to be back. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we've been down and out for a few days. I had to put my PC in the shop as Windows screwed up, as they oftentimes do. I had a Windows capability access manager had an error that caused it to create a 780 plus gigabyte log file that locked up my C drive, so that we couldn't do any live streams or upload a video on Saturday. But we're back. I couldn't find the damn thing, so I had to take it to the shop. I knew that's what was happening. I just couldn't find it. They found it, turned it off, got rid of it. We're back in action. So here we can see the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map. This is a year's worth of data here down on the bottom. This is Binance only, so I always look at this one as this shows all exchanges. I just wanted to see how bad it was, and it's not as bad as I thought it was, to be honest with you. There is plenty of liquidity down here to go get under $61,000. You can see that big spikes go down as low as 58,795. Looking at the Bitcoin chart, we're at 62,112. So yeah, essentially can't get anything going. Yesterday it looked really good as it reclaimed the June volume weighted average price here in blue, but unfortunately it was unable to close above that, which is massively important. I mean, you got to be able to do that before you can make any kind of advance whatsoever. And as you can see, it definitely didn't do that. It also retested the 21-day exponential yesterday, and that's about as high as it made it before it rolled over. This is going to be because of dollar strength, in my opinion. All right, you can blame it on Sailor, you can blame it on whatever, but in my opinion, who you should be blaming it on would be the Fed, most likely, because it doesn't really matter. I mean, Bitcoin has to be stronger than the dollar. So until we see a lot of demand come in, it's a sell, unfortunately. That's the trend. It has been the trend since October of last year. Obviously, we went through a period of sideways price action a couple times, but all in all, I mean, resistance has held. So let's go look at ETFs, see if we got any incoming buys. Let me see. I don't want trading volumes. I want total net inflow or total net flows. This will show us basically what's been happening since May the 5th, since Sailor essentially came out and sold. You can see that basically through here, May 3rd, May 4, and then there's May 5. That's literally the day that Michael Saylor came out and said that he was going to sell. They sold some like petty, insignificant amount of Bitcoin, but it doesn't matter. The fact that they did it caused what you can see here, just a lot of outflows. Now, this could be people selling to go into the SpaceX ETF. Could be a lot of things, right? Could be a lot of things. It doesn't really matter what it isn't. What we need to see is inflows. Bitcoin needs to start seeing inflows. At least the outflows aren't as significant as they were. But I mean, that's not really helpful if you're trying to buy it. I have been buying Bitcoin. My last buy, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, to be honest with you. Yeah, right here. Open. Right there, as you can see, latest operations, I bought $5,244 worth of Bitcoin, and that was on 6/21. So just 2 days ago. 2 days ago, buying Bitcoin. I'm accumulating it while it's down here in these prices. And if it drops down into the 50s, I'll accumulate there as well, as I'm accumulating it with trading profits. Trading profits is fine, right? It's all good. Bank account's flush. Everything's good. We're golden. We don't have to worry about it. So, yeah, I mean, until we start seeing a significant advance, I think you're going to have to be looking for selling trades. In terms of today, kind of makes it a little bit difficult to look for shorts when you're already down at last week's low. Now, this will determine continuation or not. So, essentially, what we're going to watch today when the New York session opens here in about 22 minutes is 61,944. We're going to see if it can continue breaking down below that. I do not have a Bitcoin short on right yet. We were watching for a short yesterday on Fartcoin, and unfortunately, I got stopped out of that trade. So right in here for the New York session, you can see that it was trading up. This is where I was looking for shorts, essentially around this level right here. So going back down into time, you can see that I was watching for a rejection there, but it did ultimately push much deeper to the upside, and that much deeper upside push stopped me out. And unfortunately, I didn't have a sell signal. So it's one of those days where I would have been better off to sit on my hands, obviously, as I wouldn't have taken a loss. But obviously, I was on the right side of the market looking for the short. The place that I was looking for the short was also good. Now, yesterday afternoon, I had some errands to run, so I didn't get back home till probably close to 5 o'clock ish. So I wasn't at home when this happened. If I would have been, I would have taken it there. Now, in terms of a sell signal, what am I talking about? Because that's 90% of what people are asking me. What do I look for to hit the sell button, right? To just fire off the order. And it's a few things. It depends on what I'm looking for. Am I looking for a swing trade or a day trade scalp? In that scenario, I was looking for a day trade scalp. So in order for me to be able to sell as a candle is pushing up, right? It is ascending. It is making higher highs, higher lows. I need to see some kind of selling pressure, right? If I'm not seeing that, it makes me very hesitant to fire off a sell signal. So I want to see the intraday range in terms of volume. Session volume profile is the best indicator for this, in my opinion. I want to see volume nodes, large volume nodes at the objective level that I am watching to put the short on. All right. So if I was looking for short entries, if it price failed to make higher highs above 0.1331, then I need to see a large amount of volume in and around. So that means at, slightly above, and slightly below the objective level. I would much rather it be the point of control. If I have that, then a secondary indicator that I'm going to look at is going to be the cumulative volume delta. Cumulative volume delta right here. And I want it to be showing me selling pressure. Start new. Let's get rid of the RSI. So as you can see here, I do not have either, literally either, of the signals that I want, right? I know this is the level. I know it for a fact because it's objective. I can make that objective statement. As long as price is trading above this, it is in upside continuation and it isn't a short, right? Because if it's continuing higher, it's in an upside expansion. I am most likely going to eat a stop. So that is it. That is literally it. you can clearly see that not only do you not have sell side pressure on this indicator, but the buyers are firmly in control of price. Now, the reasoning behind the trade was simple. Dollar strong. If dollar strong, I have a sell side bias on any asset that starts with a few letters and ends in USD. Anything that trades against the dollar. Farcoin trades against the dollar, hence I'm looking for weakness if the dollar continues to be strong. So that's why I was looking for the sell. Here is where I was looking for the sell. And then, like I said, I wanted to see indicators showing me that sell. Since I didn't have either of these two indicators showing me that it was a sell, it was obviously a more aggressive entry, and that is why it didn't work. You know what I mean? The buyers were obviously in control of this, but ultimately, the objective level ended up holding. Why? Because price wasn't looking for an upside expansion. It was clearly looking for a liquidation. Once that liquidation took place, price stayed up here for a couple of hours. That's the candle that got me, most likely. Stayed up here for a couple of hours before ultimately rolling over. Now, it did come back for a retest at 4 o'clock. So that would have been a good entry or a secondary entry. This is another reason why I break my trades up into threes. Instead of risking all of my WAD on this one entry, I break it down into 3 parts. This gives me multiple entry attempts to risk 1 risk unit. So if my entire risk unit is $100, for instance, then I'm going to take 3 potential trades with the position sizing and risk management situated to where I'm only going to lose $30 if I'm wrong. Because if I lose $30 3 times, that keeps me under my $100 risk unit. So it gives me 3 opportunities to potentially make my $300 gain, which is what I'm looking for. This gives me the ability to come in with a big position and big leverage with super tight stops. Because I know if I'm wrong once and then twice, there's a much higher likelihood that the third one is going to be wrong. And a lot of times, I don't even take it. Don't even take it the third time, because I've been doing this for so long that I pretty much know what I like to see when I'm looking for a trade entry. And if I don't see at least a check in all the boxes that I'm looking for, then I know that's a less high probable scenario. Now, if this would have been under the neutral line, which is this dotted line right here, under it, that means the sellers are in control of price. So if we go ahead and we play this out all the way to where we currently are this morning, you're going to see that we don't have POC at the top of the range, but it was up there at some point as it migrated lower. But you do have sell side aggression down here. So what must we see before we can look for a short here? Well, we need a fresh day high at a bare minimum. At a bare minimum. So the fact that you're currently trading under yesterday's low, that makes this a less likely to work trade idea. Because all we're doing is we're scalping ranges. That's it. That's it. There's nothing special in what it is that I do. For some reason, people struggle with this concept. It is so simple. It's simple to me. I guess it would be difficult to someone that's never done this before. So this is why I keep saying it over and over and over and over again, hoping that the light switch will click on for the majority of you, and then you will be able to essentially build your own money as time goes on. Now, you can't be trading it with, obviously all your money, or you're gonna lose all your money. If I tried to do that, I would be broke. You know what I mean? So I have to wait for the indicators. And even when you have even when you literally have everything working for you, dollar strength, yes, check. Perfect positioning, perfect, check. Deltas are good, yep, perfect, awesome. And we got the POC, yep, beautiful. Hit the sell button. There's still a 50-50 shot you're going to eat a stop. That's the part that people don't understand, I guess. That's where they're looking for a 100% hit rate strategy. They're looking for something that just simply does not exist. But with these two indicators, I have come to find that as long as you're on the side of the trend overall, which as long as price is under the 21-day exponential, you'd be looking for shorts at prior day highs. As long as you have selling activity happening at an objective level with deltas being negative or at least neutral. So they don't have to be negative. They don't have to be printing a trending move under the neutral line. They can simply be sideways at neutral, and that's still fine. Because we know if the sellers do show up later, then it will fall below neutral. So yeah, just keep that in mind. All right. That's it. That's literally the strategy. It's very, very simple. All right. Anybody can do it. It's the money managing that everybody fails at. Money managing, that's where they struggle. I saw a tweet today on Twitter where a guy's literally screaming at Elon. I know that guy was literally trolling the internet. Obviously, it's not Elon's fault that the dude lost his $18,000 because he took $18,000, which was his entire life savings, and bought probably same day call expiration. And of course, SpaceX is not making higher highs right now. Obviously, it is getting annihilated. We know this is most likely going to happen. There's data out there that shows that every IPO, every single tech IPO has lost 50%. Every single one. So I'm at least waiting for a 50% correction or a 30% correction or some kind of correction. The sellers that got in this early, like 15 years ago early, you know what I'm talking about? Those guys that bought in or gave Elon Musk money to build SpaceX, right? All the money that he lost trying to build the company, that had to come from people. Those people own shares. They own shares probably at a much lower value. They cannot even sell yet. They're in what's called a lockout period. They must wait for a specific amount of time before they can sell. And if you bought in, say, 15 years ago, and Elon was like, if you give me, I don't know, say $500 million, I'll give you so many shares at $20 or $10 or whatever, right? Those people still haven't even started selling yet. And this is already happening. So just be careful. Understand that it is super volatile. There are a lot of people out there that do want to invest in SpaceX. They just don't want to invest in it at this evaluation because this evaluation is massive. It's 3 companies wrapped up into one. And out of those 3 companies, the only one that is profitable is the internet business. The rocket business loses money. And then obviously the grok business loses money. So they're not making money. Now, that doesn't really mean anything in the financial world, is what I've come to understand doing this for a long time. It doesn't really matter. What matters is price. Price is king. Right now, price is in price discovery. So that literally means just like it came down to the bottom side of this range, it can go right back to the top side of it just as fast. It's in price discovery. Right now, you're making fresh all-time lows. So this is a breakdown. You are breaking down right now. You're actually putting in what looks to be a continuation move. You're tagging 4-hour support. Is this a buy? The answer is no. You know what I mean? No. The sellers are more aggressive. It's neutral, but you just put in fresh lows, right? If you want to buy it because you think that's as low as it's going to go, well, that's something different. just make sure you're only buying it with a very small amount of money. Because whatever reason you're looking at this to return back to the upside, I promise you, other investors probably aren't thinking the same thing as you, right? It could hold, obviously. This is the part where, unfortunately, nobody knows what's going to happen. Yep. It's not on us to be accurate in predicting the future. All we have to do, manage our money. Take a shot at it. If you get stopped out, you're wrong. Move on. Wait till tomorrow. Give it another shot. I wouldn't be a buyer if you're making fresh lower lows, right? There's a really good chance that it's going much lower. You're at 151 right now. And if we go let's just take a small little, let's just ask Grok a simple question. What is the base case for value on SpaceX? Give me the analysis consensus, right? Morningstar provides one of the most detailed fundamental analysis using a probability-weighted DCF model. Their base fair value estimate is $63 per share as of recent coverage post-IPO, viewing the stock as significantly overvalued at current levels. Now, is that a good reason to go short? Obviously, no, it isn't. But at the same time, we know that the base case is this thing is 3x overvalue, even on fresh all-time lows. All right. So with that, I mean, there isn't really a great setup here. One could arguably buy 4-hour support and hope for the best. You're oversold on the 4-hour. That's about as good as you're going to get, right? That's about as good as you're going to get. In terms of deltas, the sellers are, I would argue the sellers are in control. Your trend is down. Your trend is down. See, I'm looking at the USDT perps, but the reason I'm looking at it is because I have more data here. I can pull up my EMAs, and thanks to today, you can see this little purple dot. We finally have a 4-hour 200 exponential moving average, and it is setting at 185. So no, this thing is trending down. We don't want to be looking for longs when an asset is trending down. We want to wait for rallies, and we want to sell resistance. Where's resistance? Right now, resistance is at about 185. About 185. So we're a long ways from resistance. Though it is a little bit oversold. Well, we already know that. We've got an RSI that shows us that. But if we wanted to look at just the moving averages, we can see we're a little bit oversold as well. So, I mean, yeah, it could bounce. It could return to the mean or revert to the mean. But, I mean, it's anybody's guess. It looks to me like it wants to go lower. As it is very weak down here. If that's the best bounce you can get after making fresh all-time lows, I don't know, right? I don't know. But if it is going to stay in price discovery, then we could put on a long. So I guess it makes it very easy. As long as price is under 152.00, we cannot be a buyer. If price is above that, we can, and then we have to put a stop at the low of day. And that's it. That's all we can do. That's all I do every day, day in, day out. Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic week. I am. I'm so happy to have my computer back. When you have power, like untold power, when it's taken away from you, it really sucks. I have a laptop, but it's got a 250 megabyte hard drive or gigabyte hard drive, sorry. 250, it's a very small one. It doesn't have much compute. It's still strong enough to trade charts, but it's not strong enough to run, all the programs that you got to run in order to do live streams and then editing software to do video uploads. It can do all that stuff. It's just extremely laggy. Now we're back. We're good. All is good. Right where I need to be. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't really have a great setup today. I've been looking. I don't see much. I do like Fartcoin lower. I just wish I could have caught that expansion lower. That's what I was looking for, and I am not in it. Hopefully, some of the Trade Talk Discord members are in it because we were discussing it yesterday, right when it was up at highs. But unfortunately, that pesky risk management thing comes into play. This was another one that we were short. I ended up making money on it, but then I took profits and added to the position when it was up here yesterday. And ultimately that brought my cost basis down, so I ate a stop on it as well. So yeah, I do or would like a fresh entry on it, but just not at these prices. As we can see here, yeah, I mean, we're currently in trend mode here to the downside. So I don't want to sell lows. I want to sell highs, not lows. All right, so XMR, I could sell it at the day high, but not down here, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, if you have a setup, let me know. We'll go take a look at it. If it is a setup, we'll take it. S&P 500 is pulling back off the highs, which makes sense as it got a little extended above the 200-day exponential. That's all I was looking at with that green line there. If you go back, I don't know, say 5 years, essentially when you get to about 10 to 15% above the 200, you start to pull back occasionally. You could argue that that pullback already took place last week, and I would agree with you 100%. I would say moving forward, as long as it can stay above this candle's low, it could still be a buy the dip opportunity. You are currently closing days under, or I mean above the 21-day exponential. With that being said, arguably one could ultimately look for longs here. I don't know that I would be that aggressive though with this currently happening. The VIX has exploded to the upside today. Big gap here. We filled this gap. I just don't have a legitimate reason to look to sell it here specifically. I guess I could argue that it is 2 weeks ago's open, so there is an objective level here. So I could just be a watcher. I could say if at any point today the VIX looks like it's failing to put in a continuation move above 2020, then I could potentially look for longs on the S&P. Also with the S&P, we have breached below. I don't know how accurate this week's expected move is going to be, as I couldn't put it on. I don't have Thinkorswim on my laptop, so I couldn't see what the measured move was until yesterday. I generally want to look for measured moves Friday or Saturday. At the end of the week, I want to look for the next week's expected move when I have that many days left, as that's more accurate expected move. So yesterday I had to get the expected move for this week after we already had one full day of trade. So I could be off by about 20 or 30 points here on the low and high. So with that being said, I would argue that it's probably close to the bottom side of the expected weekly range. So yes, this is an area where I do want to start looking for potential opportunity. I just got to wait for price to quit going down. And right now it is not doing that. As here's the futures. This shows you what is currently transpiring. Since we're on a daily, wait a minute. Oh, never mind. This is the open. It's 9:31. So never mind. Okay, so yeah, this is where we are. Nice gap down. That's perfect. So, I mean, I guess I could look for longs down here, anticipating a move back above that expected move. We'll see how it plays out. And then here are the only positions I'm in, currently still short silver. There's no reason for me to close this. As you can see right there, realized P&L green, closing P&L green, funding fees green, transaction fees 0. No reason to close it. I'm literally getting paid very little. It's $12, but it's $12 free dollars. I don't need to do anything to make money. Just hold this position and the money shows up. So there's no reason to close it. Now this position, on the other hand, probably a good reason to close it. Let's check it out. We're not losing too much to funding, but we have already closed out the P&L. We've already made $291. That's going to be minus transaction fees, but still. I'm basically just losing unrealized gains with each fresh low that Bitcoin makes. And there is a pretty good chance that it's going to continue down if dollar continues to be strong. So let's go take a look at the almighty dollar. Where is it? Right here. So we do know that the BOJ did intervene. It is official on this day right here. It does not show up on the Fred chart yet, for whatever reason, but we do know because of this that they did intervene. So they have intervened. They intervened with 11 trillion, I think, yen. It's going to be like 50 bill or whatever US dollar. It just means they sold dollars, right? They sell dollars. That's how they intervene. And then they buy yen. So essentially, by selling dollar, that's the one caveat that we have to this DXY breakout. We know that there is a chance the BOJ is going to intervene. However, because it's so expensive to short the dollar, they're the only ones selling dollar. Nobody else is. And since they're the only ones that's selling the dollar, and since no one else is, you have a breakout on your hands here. If you look at where resistance is, it's right here. Monthly resistance. You are currently breaking out, as that resistance is about the midpoint of this current expansion candle. This is typically what we look at as a legit breakout. Now, it is still possible that this is a trap. We know traps exist. They exist on every single time frame. So we can't get too outright bullish on it. But I mean, we've been bullish on US dollar ever since it started closing daily candles above the 21 exponential. So we've literally been bullish the dollar since here. This is where we first started looking for longs on the dollar, and I'm still holding those trades. There's no reason for me to close them, as I'm getting paid the daily rollover rate or the funding fees to hold dollar positions long. So it makes sense to be long the dollar, not short, not looking for shorts. And there's no macro reason to look for shorts. There's no fundamental reason to look for shorts. We also know that the Fed is taking a hawkish stance. Hawkish Fed usually equals dollar strength. Not always, but usually. So if you take into account the fact that you have significant rollover fees or funding fees to hold dollar longs right now, you can see where there isn't many people looking for dollar longs. Now, there will be places that you can look for dollar shorts, obviously, right? If you do think that the dollar is going to pull back, you would only be looking for a pullback. You would not be looking for a trend continuation move, as the current macro backdrop is against you and the current Fed is against you. Current rollover rates are against, like literally everything is against you, looking for a downtrend to take place on the dollar. We needed to wait for the Fed, and we really hoped that the Fed would take a dovish stance, but I kept reiterating the fact that that was not the base case. The base case was that the market was pricing in rate hikes, not rate cuts. So for Kevin Warsh to come out and say we're going to continue to cut rates and we're going to do it so right now, blah, blah, blah. That was completely against the narrative. Now, Kathy Woods came out and said she does believe that they will end up cutting rates before the Fed meeting. She said that, and I was on the fence about it. I was like, I basically was hoping, right, that the Fed would cut, essentially because if the Fed cuts, that weakens the dollar, then we don't need Bitcoin to be as strong fundamentally. Just Bitcoin could go up just because of the weakness in the dollar. But since that's not going to happen, we need Bitcoin strength now. So unfortunately, as long as the dollar is breaking out, as long as the current macro backdrop supports dollar longs, I have to be bearish Bitcoin. Now, I am still buying Bitcoin on the cold storage, but that's for a 5-year plus hold. That's not for now. My now base case is bearish. I have to be bearish. I do think Bitcoin is probably closer to the lows than it is. So I'm not like looking for a big trending move on Bitcoin. But depending on how big this trending move ends up being will determine my bias. Literally, on a day-to-day basis. I anticipate that this will be a multi-month breakout. I anticipate that probably by the end of the year, you're going to have the dollar at like 104 or 103.50, somewhere in this area by the end of the year. Now, it doesn't seem like a big stretch to get up there from right here, does it? But the dollar is very slow. And the long side of the dollar is a very crowded trade right now. So it could continue to be choppy. But this is a fresh breakout out of a multi-month range. Like literally 12 months. Almost 13 months. This thing chopped sideways here. So the fact that it is breaking out could mean that we will see at least dollar upside for the next 2 months, it would seem. Or at least that's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. Time will tell if I'm right or wrong. I'm currently right. I'm currently printing money. So no point in changing that right now. But you can see dollar is currently breaking out. Yesterday we did see a little bit of a move on the USD JPY. So I was wondering if maybe there's another round of intervention, but that move was short-lived. Simply like all other volatile spikes that we've gotten, they've literally all been bought up. So every time we see one of these, we have to be very, very, very hesitant about taking the sell side of it. Also, to hold it for multiple days, it's not going to be smart. Because it's expensive. Yeah, if you hold this thing for like a month, you're probably going to no longer be in profit. And that's if you do get a move lower. So yeah, I mean, one could argue that it's going to roll over here because it is the last liquidation point on Forex.com. I mean, essentially, that's an all-time high. You did not print an all-time high yesterday. You stopped short of doing that. So it kind of feels like it's definitely going to do that before it rolls over. But one could arguably look for longs on this. If at any point it starts printing higher lows, you currently have that happening right now. So I don't love buying USD JPY at these insane prices, especially knowing that the BOJ has already intervened once. They can only intervene 3 times in a 6-month period. So since they intervened through April and May, they can't really, they can intervene 2 more times until October, but then after that, they got to give it a 6-month break. I don't know that they're going to. It's not doing any good. So, like, if I was the BOJ, I would probably not. But, I mean, I'm glad I'm not the BOJ because, I mean, some analysts are saying if they don't do something, then bad things could happen. But, I mean, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true or not. We'll see. All right, so yeah, I mean, if it's staying above 161 spot 34, you'd be a buyer, not a seller. Forex.com does not give us any information on volume. They hold that hostage. I don't know why. This day and age, you would think that every exchange would be forthcoming with, especially since, it's not cheap to trade on exchanges. They charge you fees every which way but loose. They're just printing money. They would give us volume. But for some reason, they treat that as gold, them volume numbers, so that they don't want to give it away. We'll see what happens. There are other exchanges that do give us volume. So let's go take a quick peek and see what's going on here this morning. It does look like the sellers are trying to show up here. Yeah, it does look like retail's looking for the short, and of course they are, right? Of course they are. Yeah, it would be hard pressed to get me to be a buyer at that swing low with the deltas currently more negative than positive, because occasionally retail's right. They're not right for the long haul, but occasionally they are. SpaceX is printing a fresh low. So we're going to see what SpaceX does here, because I'm willing to put on a long scalp if it can stop going lower, as I'm not in a position today, and I am looking for a position to be in. Right now it looks rough to be a buyer, though. Sellers are super aggressive today. Yeah, it looks like they're trying to get that lower low. So we'll give it a minute. Let price play around this line real quick and see what's going to happen here. But I'm currently long USD Swissy and Euro, and I'm short Euro dollar on the FX side. And like I said, both those trades I'm being paid to hold, so there's no reason to close them. I love free money, just like the next man. And if you're going to offer me free money, I'm going to take it. All right, so where's the open? Right here's the open. The New York Open is what I'm talking about. Obviously, this being a perp, the open is all the way over here, but I want to know where the New York Open is, because that's what data everybody is looking at. Hopefully everybody's having a fantastic week, and welcome back, says Tom. Thank you, Tom. The candles rule. Yep, candles rule. Price is king. Good morning, says Tony. Good morning, Peter. Good morning, Let's Walk with Vic. Greetings, boss. Thanks for what you do. Please, what is your take on prop firm, and which will you recommend? First and foremost, I will not recommend any prop firms because I don't trade prop. I trade my own money, my own book. So I can't recommend a prop firm. I can say this: if you work for a living, if you have a full-time job, you probably don't have a lot of money to trade with, and it's understandable. The good thing about this business is you don't need a lot of money to trade with. What you need is consistent results first. If you have consistent results, you can prove via third-party verification that you are a profitable trader with any amount of money. It doesn't matter the amount of money, it's irrelevant. But if you are a profitable trader, then any fund will put you to work. Any one of them. All of them, as that's their job. That's what they're in business to do, is hire profitable traders. So I like prop firms for people that don't want to trade their own money or don't have money to trade. You do have enough money to trade in terms of you can open most accounts with like $10. And I know you got $10. It costs $10 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. And people buy coffee every day. I know most people can come up with $10. That'll get an account open. I don't recommend that you paper trade. I recommend that you trade real money, because the one thing that a paper account is not going to show you is fees. You will never see fees. You will run strategies that could potentially be profitable on paper that will not be profitable on exchange, because there are exchange fees. Those fees can keep you from being profitable. They add up quick. So I recommend that you trade real money, so that way you can get a feel on how the fee structure works, how expensive it is to place trades and all that. But, so trade small money and build it. You can build an account. That's what you're trying to do anyways. You're trying to learn a trade. You're not trying to get rich today, right? It's not going to happen. I mean, it could happen. Everybody can get lucky, but in terms of, yeah, I prop firm is a fantastic thing for some people. But you'll have to do your own due diligence to figure out which one. If you have to pay them, then I would walk away. Now, with that being said, I have a couple people inside of my private community that do trade prop, and they did pay these firms. And so far, they say that everything's on the up and up, right? They have no problem getting paid and whatnot. So maybe times have changed. I don't know. But the way that I look at it is simple. A prop desk is looking to hire you. You're going to work for that company. There's no job out there on the planet that I would pay. You know what I mean? They're supposed to pay you. And if you're going to work for prop, that's just like having a full-time job working for any other company. Some prop firms offer benefits, and you know what I mean? It's no different than any other job. But instead of, you're trading instead of whatever else. Yeah, so just do your own homework. There's so many tools nowadays with AI. AI can help you basically find a good prop firm. But yeah, put together a winning streak first. That way you can essentially, you know what I mean? If it's one of those shady prop firms that'll put you on even if you're not profitable, those I would steer clear of, because they're only in it for your money. Sure, we'll let you trade a paper account. Yeah, you pay us $1,000, we'll give you the software, and then pay us $30 a month or $50 a month. Stuff like that, stay far away from that, man. Charting is free. Thinkorswim is free. There's no reason to pay for a trading platform. Now, there are benefits, obviously, to paying. Like Lightspeed is a very good brokerage account. If you're scalping penny stocks, for instance, you might want to pay them for their charting and their order executions and whatnot. I get it, right? Because they have lightning quick fills and very limited slippage and things like that. But you're paying for a premium service. Just understand what you're paying for. But yeah, any other thing that I would steer clear of. All right, so we've gotten back above the open here. This is going to be the high of day right here. So basically what we want to see is, can SpaceX make a fresh high of day? It's not the high of day on the perps, it's the high of day for the SpaceX stock. And if it can, then if it can pull back and hold support at a higher low, we'll buy there. And we'll target a fresh high of day. As you can size up in this thing. You can buy 900 contracts. Yeah. You can size up. So just be careful, make sure that you know what you stand to lose if you're wrong. We don't have an opening range breakout yet. So pre-market highs are up to 158.78. You can see you did make a fresh low day. So on this, you did liquidate. So I probably should have been looking at this. You did liquidate. So you did make fresh all-time lows. Yeah, basically what we want is, can this candle's midpoint hold? If it can, that's where I'm going to look for an entry. Stop, low day. I'll probably do it with about a $1,500 position size. Maybe a little bit less. And I'm using 5x leverage. 5x leverage on this. Not 20. 20 is probably max on weeks. Let's see. No, 100 is max. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm just going to do 5. I'm going to stick with 5. You know what? Let's go up to 10. Screw it. Live a little. That just means I'm going to be taking a smaller position size. All right, let's start off with about 1,100 and see what that does. All right. I got a limit order out there at about 151. See if I can get a fill. $151.34 is my limit order. It's very risky. Sellers are in control here. The better trade would probably be just to look for a short if it refuses to trend. It hasn't made a fresh day high yet. I mean, it's pretty weak. I never look at deltas, candles, PS, and RSI only. Yeah, you don't have to look at deltas. You don't have to, but they do help. They'll keep you out of trouble. Like, you definitely don't want to sell something that the buyers are super aggressive on and things like that. Because if the asset is expanding, if you're in an intraday expansion, so to speak, and the deltas, you would be looking to like sell a high or whatever. You won't really understand a good take profit area. You would be looking for a fresh low day or whatever, and they're going to probably buy a pullback. So, I mean, it's not for everybody. You don't have to use them. As far as I'm aware, you're profitable anyways, Tom. So, yeah, I mean, the way that I stand when it comes to profitable traders, if you're profitable, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, if you're doing good just by looking at what you're looking at, then keep looking at it. That's your edge. Stay with your edge. Yeah, price action. I knew what you meant. Lunar Entity says market cap of SpaceX in 2021 was $75 billion. Those boys are sitting pretty. Yeah. Yep. Market makers aren't desperate for liquidity. Market makers are the liquidity. Market makers, they provide liquidity. They're not seeking it out. They're literally making it. Market makers do not look for price direction. They make money on the spread, and it can be interest rate spreads. It can be this spread. There are so many spreads in markets, but that's where they're operating on the spread. Market makers exist so that you and I can take positions. They're not directionally positioned. Now, I guess some market makers do have a directional bias positioning, but they're going to be hedged. So even then, they're just looking for the spread. For instance, like Goldman Sachs right now, they're making an ETF for Bitcoin. They're going to make a market essentially. They're getting long via an ETF. They're going to sell out of the money calls. All right, generating a monthly yield. That would be a directionally biased position. Essentially, they want price to stay sideways. But yeah, the whole market maker stop me out thing, that's not true. That's not how it works. You got stopped out because you took a bad position. And I just find that people do better once they understand that. Market makers are not out to get you. Like me, for instance, right now, I'm a market maker, essentially, as I'm getting paid on the spread. It's just I'm not doing that every second with millions of dollars. They are. By them working like that, that provides liquidity for you to take the other side. Or whatever side, right? Because they're on both the bid and the ask. They're not just on the bid or just on the ask. They're on both. Market makers are operating on both bid and ask. But yes, price is very elastic. You said inelastic. It is elastic. It is very elastic. The further it gets away from the mean, the more violent the snapback will be. We know this to be true. We've got plenty of data. It's not a subjective statement. It's just, unfortunately, price can trend a lot longer than we think it can. I would assume that if it fails to trend above 158.88, it probably heads back lower today, but we'll see what it does. Obviously, I missed the long, so I'm closing that out because I would be taking profits right now. That's a $6 move. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello, we would be out of this already. So I'm closing that limit order, as to take a fill now would be murder. Now I'm going to watch up here. As if it fails to break out and continue, then I will short it and aim for a 3.5% move in the opposite direction. The buyers are hyper aggressive on the small chart. See how violent the breakout is what I'm looking for. If it's super violent, then I don't want to be looking for shorts, but if it just peaks it, then I can sell and see what happens, right? As I'm only risking 30 bucks just to scalp or a chance to make 300. It's pretty aggressive here. It's a lower low. To take it now would be very aggressive. It's not the best level either. But it's the last liquidation point until you get up to 167. So yeah, I mean, I'll take it if it stops. With 10x leverage, I do not need a $1,000 position size. You can get away with like 600 bucks. Good morning, says Paper Wiggleman. What's up, bro? Warsh effectively shut the door on the market and threw the sheet over the crystal ball. Now the market has to speak to him. I expect a test of the new regime by the market. Nice sell-off. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to jump on a quickie here just to see how it plays out. This is the liquidation point, so chances are it's going to spike above this. It's the how aggressive is the spike. That's what I want to see. There was a full-on tag of it. Nope. It was 3 cents low. This white line is 88. You can see the high is 85. So it's 3 cents short of liquidating that level. Oh, greetings to you. What price do you advise for me to start DCA? That sentence literally gives me no info. I don't know what ticker or what asset, none of that. And I'm not a money manager. I'm not licensed to give you any info as to when you should start DCAing on anything. That's not what I'm doing here. What I do here is teach people how to trade. That's it. I'm not even trying to teach you how to be profitable, I guess. I'm just teaching you essentially all I'm doing is I'm live. I'm trading while being live and talking to you all. I'm trying to tell you what it is that I'm doing so that way you can do it yourself, right? The whole point of learning a skill is so that way you can do it yourself. If you can learn how to manage money and then what constitutes a decent trading strategy, then you can manage your own money. You don't need to pay somebody to do it. So it does look like it wants to liquidate, as that pullback away from that level was very small. Literally very tiny. Remember, we have dollar strength today, so DXY is up on the day. So as long as that continues to be the trend, we want to be looking for short risk, hence the looking for shorts on SpaceX. But we know this is a liquidation point, so it could get up there, it may not. First risk is in the market, risking $30. So if it breaks out above this with a violent move, that first entry will be stopped out. And we'll have lost $30. So 150 would be about $240. So it's not quite a $300 move. Let me see. What's the low of day? Low of day would be 147.11. So let's see what it would be if we were to make a fresh day low. What was it? 147.11. Yes. That was at 147.50. Yeah, that would be $300. So if we make a fresh day low, which is just right here, that would be a $300 trade. Now, obviously, it's a long ways away from doing that. And that would be a 7% move. Okay, so obviously my position sizing is wrong. I need to be double where I'm at. So if I, instead of doing $600, if I would have done the original $1,200 at 10x leverage, I would only need a 3.5% move to make that $300. The stop would be so tight though. Like if price just acted like it wanted to go above that 158.88, I'd be stopped out. All right, so let's see what we look like on the 5-minute. We still have not made lower lows on the 5-minute chart yet. I mean, since the open, the first 15 minutes, you set the low of day. This would be considered an opening range breakout. This push above this high right here. And that is a strategy that people do use. I don't use it. Oh, some people literally got long at 154.10. There's a lower low on finally the 5-minute, but obviously I'd like it to take that low out more importantly. But it is a lower low for now. So that's a good sign. So what I need to do is I need to add to this position. But that'll bring my cost basis down to here. I'll probably just leave it as it is. I'm going to set the take profit at the low of day and just leave it how it is. If I get stopped out, I'll take a new position, double the size. We do got a lower low. Oh, so close. It looks like it is. Let's see. Low is 49. Nope, it is not. 51. It's literally 2 cents from being a lower low. Good morning, Paper Wiggleman. Greetings to you. Oh, yeah, I read that. $1 to 107, in your opinion. Yeah, 107 is possible. I just don't think it's possible by end of year. Obviously, it could, right? Tom O'Donnell says, this is so much fun. Good morning. Glad you're liking it. Good morning, Nonstopity. You short or long, SpaceX here? I took a short here at the liquidation. I originally was going to try a long for a fresh day high, but I missed my entry. When this candle pulled back, I was looking for a midpoint check of this bullish candle. So I was looking for an entry at 151. Obviously, that wick did not fill me. So all I'm doing is just scalping. I'm looking for a 3% move in my direction. And since SpaceX is cooking with grease here today, you don't need a very big move to get 3%, right? As you can see, that's a 3% move just from that white line to here. It is struggling to do that for now. So it kind of feels like it wants to break out. We've got good strength on the dollar, but SpaceX is not going to trade inverse or correlated to the dollar right now. It's got so much volume. It's going to do whatever is happening with SpaceX. The dollar is irrelevant for now. Being short here is an aggressive short. Once you liquidated the lows, you're in price discovery. The fact that you bounced back up into the range means that that's all that it was looking for at that time. It was just looking for a liquidation. And now those buyers showing up down there could be enough to propel it much higher. It's a very aggressive short. 176 will be a better level for shorts. If it breaks out above this, that would be the next level that people will be focusing on. It looks like it's going to break out, as you cannot make that lower low. Excuse me. We're just scalping it. I am going to buy SpaceX, but I want to buy it around $60 or lower. You know what I mean? I want to buy it where value is. I don't want to buy it up here. Up here, you're way overbought. You're not overbought in terms of momentum. It's just your overvaluation. That may end up biting me in the ass one day. We'll see. You know what I mean? 149 ends up being the low for at least 6 months. Then that would kind of suck, right? But I'm looking for long term, like to go into the long term portfolio, 5 to 10 years out. I do want to buy it. I just not today, not anytime soon. The first year is going to be a very volatile asset. I want to at least wait for that 180-day lockout period to go away. Once that happens, then I'll probably start looking to, depending on what it does, right? If the insiders sell it and it doesn't make it all the way down to 50% off, then I'll have to decide where I want to be a buyer. But I will let price dictate that to me. I won't associate any specific value to it. I will allow price to set it up. Like prior month lows is where I'd be a buyer after 180 days. All right, what's Bitcoin doing? It also bounced at last week's low. So that would be another area where I would have been looking for longs. if it cannot trade under last week's low, now it could trade up here, find resistance, and roll right back over. But I'm just simply stating objective statements. If it can't trade under that, then obviously it's not looking for downside continuation. That might happen later. Something we haven't looked at lately is oil. There's a reason we've had a short bias on oil since $100. I mean, we were looking for shorts all up in here. We did catch some of them. We caught the first one over here. I think we caught this one too. But unfortunately, we caught this one. We took profits too soon because the breakdown happened last week. I'm not looking for shorts now because it could turn around here. You're oversold on the daily, so I wouldn't be looking for longs because it's oversold. I'm just simply stating it's not a good area to look for shorts because it could bounce. When it bounces, that's when I'm going to be looking for shorts again on oil. When it bounces. First price that I'd be interested would be about up in here, $90 if it could get back up there. I don't think it will, but we'll see. There are people buying oil right now. There are people out there that think oil is going much higher. I'm not one of them. But it could. So I need to wait for oil. And plus, once oil's down in here, it's going to lose a lot of its intraday volatility. That's basically all we were looking for anyways on oil, because up at 100, it's volatile. You're getting large intraday price moves. Once it settles back down to, 0.5%, 1%, 1.5% moves, I'm not going to be interested in even trading oil anymore. That's the reason I'm not a big oil trader. It's so slow, usually. It gets volatile at times, but usually it's a pretty slow moving asset. It's a commodity. And oil is a very political driving mechanism. Like when you have high oil prices, people bitch and complain. So politicians are constantly trying to figure out ways to destroy it or get it lower. You get what I'm saying? It's just not something I like to trade. Usually. But when it's volatile, I love trading it. Because I can scalp out those small moves. So it ultimately did make a lower low. So that's a good sign. That high is higher though. That sucks. So basically what I want to see now in the next 5 minutes is a lower high compared to the last candle. 158.11. So as long as this candle and the next candle can stay under 158.11, we're in good shape. As your deltas are under neutral, so the sellers are the aggressors today. Remember, when an asset is trending, hang on one second, when an asset is trending, that first initial bounce that sometimes happens at the open will get faded. So when you have a longer term trend, like when your daily chart is printing lower highs and lower lows, that's what I mean. And you're trending down, those first open spikes, they tend to get faded. You know what I mean? You're kind of looking to be a seller on those, but not always. It doesn't always happen like that. You do have significant sell side here today. You had it yesterday. You got a lower low already today. So now all you need today is a lower high. And right here is your yesterday's high. If you were to look at the daily chart. So as long as today's high is under this, I would assume the sellers are the aggressors. Yeah, and since most people have an evaluation on this thing lower, like sub 100, I don't see why we couldn't. Well, the funding rate dictates whether or not I can hold a long-term trade or not. And then price will dictate whether or not I can hold it, obviously, because I have a stop out. So if it makes a higher high, I get stopped. But right now, the sellers are getting paid the funding rate. But I would need to see an annualized funding rate to be able to make that call for longer term holds. And I don't know if I can do that. I don't think I have any data that could do that. While this thing is just chopping around here, we can go look at something real quick. I don't know. Let's see something real quick. Is it this or that? This or that? Probably that. Let's see. Yeah, I almost guarantee that. Oh, wow. Right now, funding is currently paying longs. This isn't annualized, but... Or this may be annualized, because on weeks, literally the funding rate is paying the seller 0.07%. And it will for the next hour. This says 30 minutes, but... Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. All right. Yeah, I don't know. The longer term funding rates are going to be the funding rates that dictate how big money positions in this thing, is what I'm trying to say. It's not always like that, though. And to put case in point, if I go out to, say, USD Swissy, for instance, this is an asset that has a massive cost basis to hold longs. So for instance, like I'm being paid right now to hold longs, and that's generally how it is. If you go look at the interest rates, say we get rid of Japan and we put on Swissy, you can see the interest rate spread is massive. It's massive. Swissy is currently setting at 0 or negative interest rates. So the carry is huge for longs, right? But why then does this chart only go down? It's because people like the Swiss franc better. They're willing to eat those funding rates, which are expensive, mind you, to hold this short. If we go down for me, and we go look at how expensive it is to hold a USD Swissy short. See that? So it would cost me $1.42 on every 10,000 units per day to hold this short. Whereas to hold it long, I make almost $1 every day just to hold the trade open. But for whatever reason, even though the carry trade favors dollar longs on USD Swiss franc, people would rather hold shorts on it. Or at least that's the trend. That's the long-term trend. So I surmise that eventually this will not be a good way to look for dollar longs. Now at the same time, I can't be a seller on this either. Like if I want to look for dollar shorts, I'm going to have to look for that in other ways. Aussie dollar is, in my opinion, one of the best ways. You're not really shorting the dollar because the Australian dollar is not part of the DXY basket. But if you're looking for short dollar positions, to be long Aussie dollar is a way to be looking for short dollar positions. And right now, it's the cheapest route to take. So like if I wanted to short dollar, I would be long Aussie dollar, and I would only have to pay 12 cents per day on 10,000 units. So the cheapest route to short the dollar is by getting long Aussie dollar. So that's how some people will do it, right? If they're looking to essentially offset those prices. But getting long the Aussie right now, not really a good idea because obviously dollar's strong. As long as you have strong dollar. It's also affecting silver and gold, and Aussie dollar is heavily manipulated, or not manipulated, but what happens with gold and silver sometimes will influence Australian dollar's price. It was a lot more bullish than euro and pound was, and that's because of gold and silver. They were so bullish in 2025. You can see since 2026, it hasn't really done a lot, although I guess it has. It's actually done just as much to the upside in 2026 as it did in 2025. Almost. Unfortunately, right now, the dollar is in the middle of reversing its trend. But liquidation point right there on Australian dollar for a trend to continue. People may be interested in buying 68. I don't know. I think you would need to see gold and silver bounce. And we are at a point when it comes to just put call ratios that we could see gold and silver bounce. You're at extremes, 10-year highs almost. On the put the call skew. So generally when you're at extremes like this, the volatility could happen. It's not really a directionally biased indicator, but some people are probably fading this downside move in anticipation of a strong bounce because of the put call skew. I'm not that kind of person. Generally what I'm looking at is it's a good place to take profits because we've had a short silver bias for several weeks now. We've been nailing it, as you can clearly see, but down in here, if you're short silver, if you took the short that we did on Thursday, not last Thursday, but the Thursday before last, then you've been holding this trade for 2 weeks. You might seriously want to think about taking profits down here if you haven't yet, because of that put call skew. So SpaceX is looking for higher prices. It's like literally refusing to go down. So we're probably going to need to stop on this. But that's okay because it's just one. We're eating one stop. We don't even have to eat a stop. We can close it right now and make $30. Or we can just wait and eat the stop. Doesn't matter. Clearly acting like it wants to liquidate these highs before it goes, even if it might not even want to go lower. The original thesis was to buy it if it stopped going lower than 149.34. for price discovery. Not looking for a huge upside reversal, just it did liquidate the lows, which sometimes is good enough. Yeah, Bitcoin is still struggling, very choppy this morning. I imagine they're trying to fade it. Oh my goodness, though, if you look at Fartcoin, it looks like the opposite. This might be an opportunity here on Fartcoin, to be honest with you. Damn it. If it was a little bit higher, that'd be better. Yeah, I don't really have anything here. The dollar's making fresh highs. It's just sell side exhaustion at this point. When I see moves like this, it feels to me like the sellers are just exhausted. They just do not have it anymore. Everybody that wanted to sell this thing has sold it. And in scenarios like that, it really sucks looking for shorts. But that is the trend. And the sellers are definitely more aggressive today. So, I mean, one could arguably short right here on Fartcoin. The SpaceX... Oh, no, it hasn't. I thought it liquidated. It's probably going to. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like a trap, though. Let me see here. Yeah, it's well above the week open. Yeah, I could sell it if it fails 1287 on Fartcoin. I'm gonna pull that up. The trend is down, so I gotta at least try it. The dollar is literally making fresh highs. But, I mean, Fartcoin is obviously stronger than the dollar right now. SpaceX just stopped me. That looks like a liquidation move for now, but obviously that can change. There's a small pop. Seen a very similar price action on Fartcoin too. It's kind of a weird dynamic. That Fartcoin is as bullish as it is right now. This is where we can get chopped up if we're not careful. Okay, so we can try another one and that would be it, right? We don't want to get chopped up. We want to see it leave this area pretty quickly or we're going to leave it alone. It's already pretty much done what we wanted to see it do. It makes it much easier on us if it starts to fall away from here quickly. Yeah, that looks pretty good for liquidation, and I would love to see the seller aggression matched here, but it doesn't really matter. Price is king. Remember, we have dollar breaking new highs. And now that we're in it with a right position size, we don't need a fresh low of day to get that 300 bucks. We just need a lower low here, 154.19. If I did my math right. So, let me see here. 154.19. Let's make it 154.25. No. So I would need a little bit deeper than 154. Okay, it is what it is. So let's go 152. And that would do it beautifully. So we can do 152.75. Yeah, we'll take it. Ugh. That's still not quite the open, but it's still kind of a deep move. Probably isn't going to just dump, as it is not a crypto. Yeah, I mean, it still looks fine for upside. This isn't... Yeah, just I don't like that it's not pushing hard away from this level. Yeah. So if I get stopped again, I'll be done with it. Period. I mean, I don't have an edge here. The edge was down there. Just didn't get to fill. That would have been the first profit target hit perfectly, as we did get the liquidation. But our take profit would have been ahead of the level. So it would have been lower than the level. We would have got filled there with this candle. But it is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. It's impossible to predict price. Good thing is we don't have to. We've got our levels. We know what price likes to do. All we got to do is make sure that we make more money when we're right than we lose when we're wrong. As long as we continue to do that, we print money. I would like to see DXY strength up at these levels. But like I said, I guess it's so crowded. It's still trading like a choppy mess, even though it's expanding. I mean, we are currently seeing a weekly move up, so that's good. We've got upside continuation currently happening right now. The pullbacks are violent. It feels almost like it's just running out of... Well, not really. When you look at the daily, it looks fine, I guess. Yeah, it looks good as on the daily. I don't know what I'm complaining about, to be honest with you. Looks fine. You're above last week's high. As long as you're above last week's high, I see no reason for it to not continue. That looks good. You know that retail is up here selling it, though, because retail loves to sell higher highs for whatever reason. Just always trying to look for liquidations. I understand looking for liquidations. It's literally what I'm trying to do on SpaceX. But you should only be looking for liquidations in the direction of the trend. Like, that's where they get it wrong. They're looking for liquidations at all highs and all lows. That's not how it works. Trends do happen, and when they happen, you need to be on the side of the trend. And if we started to get long here. So that's since May 29. It's a couple weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. This week we'll make 4 that we've been holding longs. Yeah, I don't know what I'm complaining about. It's literally doing it. It just seems like it would have been a more violent breakout is all I'm trying to say. Seems like it would have been a little bit more violent than it was. Like, this was a really good violent day. I thought that we would see something like that once we broke out above the highs, and you just really haven't. It's almost been a struggle. When it gets up to the highs, it kind of pulls back. Yesterday was an inside day. Today we're getting that expansion. We're getting the upside. So today it looks good. Feels good. Yesterday it was choppy. Hopefully the weekly low is in and it just continues to print upside candles all week long. That's what we want to see. That's how I'm positioned. We'll see how it plays out. So I don't know if YouTube has stopped or whatever, but I don't have any other questions in the chat. 152.75 is where my first take profit is. That's close enough. That's kind of low. I probably won't wait for that, to be honest with you. And Fartcoin is still struggling to break out. I got my stop on it at about, what is it actually? 1286. So just above the highs here. So might better wait on Fartcoin shorts for a 30-minute close above the VWAP. So when we end this stream, if you're watching Fartcoin for a trade, essentially what you might want to wait on is a close above this. Like this. Right? And then try to get that short off right here, as it would be a little bit easier to mitigate risk. You could look at this candle as similar to a trap, right? If the sellers are in control of price, which they are, or they were at least, if they're going to continue to be in control of price, you wouldn't want to see it putting in many higher highs above this level. So you could literally be a seller on this candle's close. If it looks like it could be this candle, the candle that it's currently making right now. There's still 10 minutes. So if it happens here, that would be fine, right? See a close above, wait for the close, then fire the sell, get the stop up in here. And then essentially you do not want to see any higher 30-minute highs. You want to see the next 30-minute candle open and start to retrace back into this candle's range. And then the next candle open and boom, gives you that kind of move right there. Then you'll be positioned nicely if you get downside continuation, which is the one thing I cannot predict. But you'd be positioned nicely for that to occur. The weekly opens all the way down here. So this is your current weekly high. If this goes all the way up and makes a fresh weekly high, so we can get rid of this line. This is no good either. This is it. If it gets all the way back up to here, that would be more bullish in my opinion. The fact that you make a fresh weekly low and then not get faded is not good. That would indicate that the sellers are potentially exhausted. And then obviously dips would be bought, or at least some people would try to buy dips. SpaceX, just for whatever reason, is not going down. So you can see how it's starting to wedge up here. It's not what I want to see. There is big volumes building in here. So it does look like the POC is about to migrate, but that does not mean it's going to roll over, as it can break out to stop all these fresh sellers out. Because I'm in this volume as well. The fact that it's building in higher lows is concerning. We don't want to see higher lows, because then price does that. You have dip buyers on SpaceX right now. They're looking at this as a failed continuation pattern. So this is what's known as a swing failure pattern. You put in that lower swing and then you fail. Some people can look at that as very bullish. I look at it as just it's still in price discovery. There's just not enough sellers to get a breakdown continuation trade. And since this was the lower low or the all-time low, whatever, I mean, if you think about it, if it does do nothing but go up from there, buying it at the lowest low, good place to be buying sometimes. Not if the downtrend is going to continue, but unfortunately, that takes a little bit of fortune telling. Yeah, we're not seeing big, heavy sellers today. Yesterday, this thing just opened and started dumping instantly. See how they were grinding this bottom level and then ultimately it broke? Well, you can kind of anticipate something similar happening here. If it keeps grinding but building in those higher lows, then boop, right back up she goes. So price discovery was the best trade on the day for this one so far. The sellers have not made money today. Hypothetically, though, I could take profits right now, drop my position sizing dramatically, cover the loss, make an additional $30 and call it a day. That's not how I roll. Because I know tomorrow or the next day I'll nail that $300 trade. And it will cover the two $30 losses from today. All's good. Hopefully this thing stays volatile like it has been. Moving that much on an intraday basis will make it a favorite of ours to watch for a long time. There was your POC migration. The problem with the migrating POC is we don't know that it's buyers or sellers, right? Because this is both buyers and sellers. We know because the deltas are sub-neutral or below neutral that there is more sell-side aggression. The market sellers are more aggressive than the limit buyers. That's essentially what this indicator tells us. But because price is making higher lows, that essentially tells us that the buyers are just as aggressive. It is a zero-sum game. Good morning, Run DMC 555. How are you doing this morning, my friend? We're just kind of waiting on a small intraday dumpola here to happen on SpaceX, or at least just a lower low so we can take some profits. But as you can see, we're fighting against price this morning. Looks like it wants to break out and make that second run higher. So I won't sit in this for very much longer. There's no point. As if you look at it on a 30-minute basis, looks like it wants to go up, not down. You need to make that lower low at some point. So whatever selling aggression they had, it is very minimal in comparison to what it was yesterday. Look at that first 30-minute candle. Yesterday, second 30-minute candle. But you can see how this not the same. So the sellers are not as aggressive today as they were yesterday. And it makes sense because these are fresh lows. Down here, nobody knows, right? That's how price discovery works. You get a fresh breakdown or fresh lows, you'll probably see another expansion like that. But that's not even close to happening right now. In fact, the opposite is trying to take part. So day trader longs are going to be watching 155.35 for buying ops. 156 even. Yeah. Let's see what regular volume looks like right quick. Yeah, you get a breakout here on big volume. Buyers are going to be scalping that. I'm jumping out. There's no point in holding another loss. This literally is a perfect setup for a squeeze trade. So basically, if you get a volume increase on the breakout, people are going to buy it. And they're going to scalp it up to like 166-ish. I'm not a breakout trader, so that's not what I do. You can try if you want. I don't recommend that kind of trading. If you're going to do that, make sure your volume is big. If the volume isn't, then it is not a breakout. So here comes the breakout. I booked $22 worth of profit on that exit. So I'm not down quite. I'm just down like $15 minus fees. Unfortunately, oh, there is no fees on this. Yes, there is. Yes, there is fees on this. Never mind. Not the deltas. I'm talking about just regular volume here. It's a standard squeeze. There's several different names for it. Just depends on whatever YouTuber you're watching. There's so many different names for it, but so hypothetically, if we did try it, where would our take profit need to be? About 163.18. Not going to try it. I just want to see if it would have played out. There's a slight increase in volume, but nothing major. So that's not, I wouldn't take it. You need a big breakout on volume as well. When you get a breakout above the level, you got to have, that volume has to confirm that move. It might confirm it on something different. Let's go watch. Look at the 3-minute chart. I guess it is an increase in volume, but it's not a big increase in volume. Yeah, see, when this happens, it makes me almost want to take the short again. There was a slight increase in volume there, but not enough to sustain the breakout. Yet, there's some big volume. Uh-oh. Yeah. Not enough volume to sustain the breakout. I wouldn't try the short. It's still building higher lows. That big breakout volume can come 5 minutes from now or 10 minutes from now. You know what I mean? I don't have an edge here. Not seeing heavy sell side volumes either, so. There's kind of heavy sell side volumes. Yeah, it's probably toast now. That's gonna go down and make that lower low. That'd be so. That'd be about right? The Fartcoin trade is currently working out a little bit here. Not much. It did make a lower low on the 30-minute though. So hopefully this one goes on to put in that downtrending move that we want to see today. I mean, yesterday would have been a better trade, but I got stopped out of it. I didn't have an edge on it. I didn't love yesterday. It looks like it does look like people are trying to buy the week open here. Could be sell side exhaustion. Only time will tell. Dollar is currently making, I mean, it's at fresh day highs. If I had to guess, I would guess Fartcoin probably does fade. And I have zero edge on SpaceX. So I'm done trading it. It looks like it's gonna break out. You know what I mean? This I would be concerned if I was a breakout buyer. I would be very concerned because you did make that higher high. You did get an increase of volume, just not big enough. But like I said, that it might be on its way. But you would have got filled. You would have had a stop limit buy setting at the fresh high. You did get filled on that. There's your breakout. There's your volume. So 163-ish would be that upside target. And if you get that, that's as much as I would anticipate. But I don't have an edge on breakout trading. None. Zero. My edge lies in stuff like this, right? Fart coin, look for the pullback, enter. That's where I look for entries. Bitcoin has been faded. SpaceX might get faded eventually. If you're trying to buy breakouts, just be careful. Because if it doesn't start moving to the upside, it's not a breakout. It's a failed breakout. We'll give it a few more minutes here. Weekly VWAP is a rest. Is rest? Wait, what? Bill? Not quite sure what you're trying to say. Weekly VWAP is rest. I don't know what asset you're talking about either. I don't know if you're talking about Bitcoin, Fartcoin, or SpaceX. Those are the three assets that we've been focusing on today. SPX. Weekly resistance is, or weekly VWAP is resistance on SPX is what he's saying. Well, I mean, if you tried to buy the S&P this morning looking for a bounce, you did get it. You should have taken profits on it. The 21-day exponential is resistance for right now. So you see this yellow line, that's the 21. As long as price is under it, and these moving averages are not very helpful when price is chopping. But you can be a seller. It's an aggressive short. You still are not advancing above that weekly open up there on the VWAP. So we were kind of looking for an upside pop on it this morning, and that's exactly what you got. The open is at 73.66. When I scalped the S&P, I looked for 10-point moves. I did not trade the S&P today. But did it get up to 77? I mean, yeah, it made it all the way up to 21. So had I bought it this morning looking for an upside pop, I would have taken profits and been done for the day on a 10-point rally. I'm not quite sure where the weekly VWAP is. This is Monday, so I guess it would just be right there. And maybe you're looking at it on this. I don't know. I mean, it hasn't hit the weekly VWAP yet. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's above price. So it's definitely potential resistance. So is the 21 at this point. I do not have a sell side bias on it. I will if it continues to close dailies under the 21. But just on the near term, my long-term bias on the SPOOs is still to the upside. Like, this would be a buy the dip opportunity. As long as the VIX stays under 2029, I'd be long the SPOOs. A lot of people think this is the top, but everybody always thinks every top is the top. They never stop. They never will. All your Twitter and YouTube bears are always going to be bears at every single high. And they're just always wrong. They're so wrong 99% of the time. This asset trends higher. It's just the way it's designed. It's designed to do that. Every quarter, this portfolio gets rebalanced with winners. They kick losers and put in winners. Therefore, it trends. It's crazy, but there are a lot more bears out there than bulls. There always is. See, there's your breakout that is failing. Didn't really see that. That solid breakout volume. You kind of need to see that. I mean, it could still end up hitting that upside target easily. But with that much, you would think there would have been bigger volume on the breakout. It's not a short. I mean, I'm done trading it. I got the fart coin on, and I'll keep that one open for a little while, see how it plays out. It's doing okay. A stop is up there, so it's heading back in the right direction. This expansion, that's a lower low. This is a higher high, but as long as it stays under resistance, I'm good. 45 minutes left on the close, too. Chances are it's going to close as a bullish candle. But if the dollar reverses, I don't know what I would feel about this. And the dollar is literally reversing. It just, it's not really trending that hard or that strong. It's still fine. I wouldn't want to see it back down here. But it's probably where it's going because it's in price discovery up here. So the near term lows. Would love to see it maintain or stay above 101.18. 101.19. This candle can pull back as far as I'm concerned. It can pull back all the way to here, but I don't want to see it go no lower than that. If it goes lower than that, then it's going to feel toppish. I would definitely be concerned with this if I was long or looking for the breakout. This is not what you want to see. Chances are you're going to come down into this area. Really sucks, but it is what it is. We were early. I wouldn't try to continue to force the trade. Just don't do that. That's where people get in trouble as well. You'll catch it tomorrow or the next day or the day after. It'll be fine. Relax. SpaceX. Oh, okay. Weekly VWAP is resistance on SpaceX. Yep. Looking like it for now. Weekly VWAPs are powerful. They don't always work, but they do work sometimes, and that's all we need. Sometimes. If it works sometimes, we're good. So yeah, good catch. Next month we'll start tracking the VWAPs on it. I haven't started tracking the VWAPs on it because it's just not enough data here. It's literally in price discovery. Essentially what I was looking for is to be short right here. That's it. If it failed to break out above that, I wanted to look for the short. My entries were too quick, as it chopped me up a little bit there. So I ate 2 stops losing a total of $15. Not bad. If it continues to make higher lows, it's probably going to break. Sellers are really wanting to see at lower low. At least one. So far, every candle from the open has been a higher low. Hey, can you look at Swiss Aussie? I have to move back, wondering when to swap. Yeah, see, I can't tell you when to do that. You asked me this last week as well. There's not going to be a good, time on the chart. Just when you get there, you're going to have to swap, right? Your currency is better. The Swiss franc is better than the Australian dollar. But yeah, I can look at it. I mean, it's not a trade, so... Well, you specifically want the Swiss franc first, which is not a tradable pair for me. I cannot trade this. I can trade Aussie Swiss, but not Swiss Aussie. The conversion rate, it's going to be a penny or two, right? But trying to time this when the best time to do it, yeah, it's probably going to happen right when you get there. It's at support. It's holding the support. I just can't look at it. I'm sorry. I have to look at it the right way. It screws me up looking at it the wrong way. It's literally at resistance. Aussie's weak today. Dollar strong. Gold and silver are weak. That's a pretty good down day on silver today. Not so bad on gold, but it's contributing to Aussie weakness. It looks like Swiss franc could be firming up a little bit. We can look at the currencies by themselves. The currency futures. Swissie's not up today. It's actually down 0.08. So it's barely down. Whereas Euro's down pretty big. Pound's down pretty big. Yen's down 0.10, so it's not down hardly at all. Nope, that weakness is straight Australian dollar. Has nothing to do with Swissy strength. It's all Australian dollar weakness. Aussie dollar is literally down 1.07%. So this down move right here is all from the Aussie. It's at resistance. Last quarter's high. So April 2020. Hello to you too, Cat. What's up? Nothing? Alright. My cat just stuck his head in the office and yelled at me twice and then left. Yo! It's time for brunch, bro. Yeah. Just weakness here. I mean, so you're moving from Switzerland to Australia. So you're getting rid of the good currency, going for the bad. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to happen when you get there. You could wait, obviously, to an opportune time, but it's going to be pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. I definitely can't tell you when to do it. But pennies on the dollar matters if you got a shitload of money. I wouldn't do all of it. If it was me, right, I would just convert what I need to just live. And I mean just live, just to pay the bills for the house you're either renting or buying, whatever. You know what I mean? Just convert what you need to live, leave the rest in Swissy. It is the far, like, Swissy beats everything. Swissy has been crushing everything for years. And I don't know. Yeah, I can't. So let's just ask the AI. Oh, shit. They have low inflation. That's the number one thing. It's one of the world's top safe haven currencies. Investors, governments, central banks, and individuals flock to it during times of global uncertainty, which isn't. I mean, if that's true, then you can literally say that there's been global uncertainty for the past, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. Man, makes sense, right? It's about the amount of time that Trump's been in the White House. So people flocked to the Swiss franc. So if you have a lot of money, I would leave the majority of it in Swiss francs. I would not convert it to a failing currency. Because look at Australian dollar. Right? It looks rough. It looks rough. It's been literally getting annihilated since 2013. Now, you did make fresh 2-year highs this year, or 3-year highs. Bam. But it failed up there. You know what I mean? So chances are the trend will come right back eventually. And you're starting to see that today. You're starting to see that. Resistance is 71 cents versus the dollar. That same resistance versus your currency is a little bit different. Right? Yeah, it couldn't even make a higher high against your currency. Not one. Against your currency, dude, I would just what I have to live on and nothing more. Nothing more. I would probably not do it all at once either. I would do it monthly or something. But anyways, getting back to Grok, just so people understand why. Political and economic stability. Switzerland maintains long-standing political neutrality, strong institutions, and fiscal prudence. Very low public debt. U.S. government, are you listening? Very low public debt. This makes the franc a reliable store of value. Low inflation. Switzerland consistently has lower inflation than most major economies. This preserves purchasing power over time, unlike currencies that erode due to higher prices rises. Strong and diversified economy, backed by high-value sectors like pharmaceuticals, luxury goods, technology, banking, and biotechnology. Consistent trade surpluses and high productivity support the currency. sound monetary policy. The Swiss Bank or the SNB focuses on price stability. Well, so does the Fed, but anyways, it's a safe haven flow. So when the U.S. stock market gets destroyed, you see that flee. They used to also flee to the Japanese yen, obviously, but we really haven't seen that. Well, yeah, we did. We saw it back in 2022. Back in 2022, you had a bear market all year long, literally, and the yen popped back then. So anytime there's a bear market in U.S. stocks, Swiss franc and Japanese yen both do pretty okay. And then historical performance. Remember, when I'm looking to invest in an asset, what do? I look at historical data. I'm looking for a chart that performs well, and that has been performing well for the last 10 years. Going all the way out 10 years. The Swiss has done great. So all of these reasons are why I would barely convert. I would convert only what I needed to convert to buy groceries and to pay rent. That's it. Leave the rest sitting in the Swiss. Okay? But in terms of when, like, I guess it would be best to do it when this is printing fresh lows. Right now, you're at yearly highs. It is coming off, but not really. Not really. It's kind of an inside month, but we're starting to see that weakness today. So maybe it breaks down. We'll see. And then going back over here to SpaceX real quick, which this was the chart. It's still very choppy. It's still doing the same thing. It still hasn't made a fresh 30-minute low yet, so this candle dominates the range. If SpaceX can't put in like a good move away from 150.78, I would not be looking for shorts. It kind of feels like it's topping here. We don't need that. Oh, let's make sure we're not getting rid of. Okay, good. It was a VWAP. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we don't need to. You are into the weekly VWAP up here. That is apparently what is holding resistance. So good call, Bill. Good call. All right, guys. I guess we're going to wrap it up as people are quiet. I would anticipate, lower lows if it can't sustain a breakout above 157.78. Yeah, the VWAP could potentially be that resistance. I was a little early on it. I'll catch it tomorrow or the next day. For the public, for the public people, we'll see you Thursday morning. Everybody else, we're right back on schedule. Every day will be fine. I got my PC back and we got the power. We can live stream. All's good. Currently holding a near-term Fartcoin short for now. Kind of looking for the same principle. We're looking for this spike here intraday to be faded ultimately. Trading back up into the weekly VWAP. There is your week high. So there is the week open. So we're kind of looking, as long as the DXY continues this trend up, we are looking for this to be faded. If you start closing 30-minute candles above 1279, you can wait for one more close to see if it gets back under it. If it doesn't, leave it alone because it could be looking for a fresh week high. If it makes a fresh weekly high today, I don't think it would, but if it did, I would take that as a pretty strong signal. And I would probably no longer like shorts on it, at least this week. Instead, I would love to see it fail here. This is the weekly open. So if it could get back under that and put in a trending move, that would be good. I don't know why it bounced so strongly after liquidating that swing low, but it did. Sell side exhaustion is the only thing I can say about it. 1182 is that low. I don't think it got below that. 1183. It didn't. So that wasn't even a liquidation. It just kind of feels like sell side exhaustion when you get big aggressive spikes like that. Looking at the daily, I mean, yeah, it sucks. It doesn't look good. There's no signal here. The 3-day looks fine. This was the original short signal. A failure here. It's not quite a bullish engulfing. There's 8 hours left on this candle. As long as it closes under this, it looks like a swing high failure pattern. And I would rather be setting in shorts than longs. You are a bit extended away from the 3-day, but the daily is literally right here. However, if you're seeing sell side exhaustion, chances are you're not going to see a big trending move lower. And a lot of times with cryptos, especially shit coins, when you start seeing stuff like this, it could be indicative of a bottom, like a near-term bottom. So if it can't start trending pretty damn soon, I would probably not love the short. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be concerned that a big spike is coming in the crypto market. But I think you're going to need the dollar to be chilled out for that to happen. Not necessarily, though. As here's WorldCoin. We were actually looking for WorldCoin to bounce. But every time we tried to get long, we got smoked. And then, boom, there's that bounce. So Fartcoin could be looking to do something like this. Hang on, let's get rid of that C. There you go. You see what I mean? Like, it's just sell side exhaustion. Then you get these ginormous moves. So maybe something like that is coming to a Fartcoin near you. We will see. Clearly, this is not the right chart. There it is. There we go. There we go. So yeah, selling, the sell side is very played out, if you will. It has been played out. It is played out. This thing is only red. When your quarterly candles start getting small like that, it's time to start winding up the shorts. Yeah, it looks rough, but it makes it hard to buy it still, but we'll see what happens with it. I took a long scalp here on Bitcoin. It's last week's low. I have no problems with people buying last week's low, as long as they understand what they stand to lose if it breaks down. It is a level to watch. As long as you're trading above this white line, you do not have downside continuation. That's the only objective statement you can make on this. It's bearish with every other thing that we would look at. You lost the 21-day exponential yesterday. So it's failing to break down on the near term. That's all. Chances are it is going to break down. You know what I mean? That's the direction of the trend. The dollar strong, yada, yada, yada. So just be careful, know what you stand to lose if you're wrong, and that's all you can do. We never know what price is going to do, my friend. Nobody does. I know you were the one that said a couple weeks back that you follow some people that make 100% every month or whatever. I would love to know some of those people so I could follow them too, because they are the best traders on planet Earth. If they're doubling their account every single month, they should be trillionaires by now. I can double a trade a lot, but doubling an account, that's a different ball game. My account is good though. It is ready to take money off. There's $14,000 in the balance, so it was at 1,000 just a couple weeks ago. We're all right. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. But it's last week's low. It is an objective level and it is above it. So hopefully it holds. I would love to see Bitcoin start ripping to the upside. I would. I really liked that it reclaimed the VWAP yesterday, the June VWAP specifically, but it failed. It then closed under and I was butthurt. I was very sad. My emotions were down in the dumpster. I mean, that's a full-on close under. It's like, what are you doing, dude? You broke out above everything. Everything. Why couldn't you just keep going up? Now you got a bearish engulfing 3-day. Yuck. Yuckity yuck. If you close under this, it's going to look really bad. Really bad. Hopefully we see that sell side exhaustion show up soon and Bitcoin rallies. We're just not seeing enough demand. And because of that, right here, because of that, Bitcoin is struggling. Now, with that being said, we're not seeing heavy sell side either. 250, anything bigger than 250 is considered heavy, whether it's buy side or sell side. You're not seeing heavy sell side. It's like here, June the 10th. That was like the last time you saw like real heavy pressure. And then June the 4th, you actually got 320. Sorry. The 5th, June 5th, you were up in the threes. So there and there is the last time we really saw the 5th and the 10th. Since then, it's just been a lot of nothing. So the 5th, here's the 10th. So heavy sell side pressure on that day, and it still could not go lower. That's good news. That is kind of good news. Yeah. Heavy sell side pressure on the 10th, and it could not go lower. So we could arguably say that there could be some big bids under here, under the weekly open. It is the last line in the sand. You do kind of have higher lows, but I don't know if they're going to be able to hold. It's kind of what you got going on there. So I like the level. I like where you're trying to get long. I do. I really do. I would rather you try to get long here than literally anywhere else. But price just doesn't seem to agree with you right yet. I'm setting... Oh, wait. When a hot streak dries up, it hurts. Yes, it does. It does. I'm sitting on a lot of cash at the moment. I fully expect the broad market to pressure the Fed with the sell-off. Liquidity is slowing down. You can see it in major indices. Liquidity's been going down since October. I'd say the liquidity cycle is getting closer to a bottom than it is I mean, it just depends on what indicator you're looking at and calling it liquidity. There's so many different liquidity indicators out there. Money supply, M2. You got the Global Liquidity Index, GLI. Then you have that one English gentleman or Australian gentleman that pushes the global liquidity narrative all the time at cross-border capital. According to his global liquidity, it's going down, but it's getting closer to where it bottoms. He thinks that liquidity will start coming back near this year end of year. We may start to see global liquidity turn. But this new Fed being hawkish, they probably won't be hawkish if inflation comes back into the threes. They probably changed their tune a little bit. But I don't know. We'll see. Since oil's rolling over, inflation will continue to go down. But oil's got to come much lower than where it is. I would say it needs to be at least in the 60s. It's almost there. So where we spiked, yeah, I would say inflation is getting ready to come down. Where is the inflation rate? Right here? No, that's unemployment. Whereas USIR, there we go. Yeah, the last inflation print we got was high. I wouldn't doubt it a bit if the next CPI number you get is down back in the 3.5s. We're going to get an inflation number soon, aren't we? Yeah, you're going to get a PCE number next week or Thursday. And then next CPI will be about June, in between June 6th and 12th. No? I don't know. I think we've already got inflation for the month of June. So, yeah, I mean, oil's come off quite a bit since. This number will directly be affected by oil. And it will come off. So, CPI numbers are going to go down, but we're going to get PCE numbers this week, which is the Fed's preferred measure. I think I only have the month-over-month PCE. No, there it is. That's your annual change right there. So year over year. All right. It's sitting at 3.3. We get that Thursday. Core PCE. Thursday. Oh, you don't mean major recession? Okay, good. Yeah, I'm not looking for a major recession either. Yeah, we're not even close to that. In fact, a lot of things are turning around. So I'm not quite sure why people are so bearish. I really don't know. I just take it as they're always bearish. It doesn't matter what's going on. People are bearish. The 30 years come off a little bit. 20 year and 10 year. Just a little bit, though. Yeah, if you got a lot of money, I would say, well, here's the real rates. We won't know until we get the next CPI print. As of right now, the real rates are negative, so you're not earning any money on a 4% right now. But that might change in the next 2 months. If inflation drops back down to 3.5, the real rates will go back into positive territory. If the 3-month continues to stay where it is, which we know it is, they didn't hike. They did not hike. However, it is pricing in a hike for this next Fed meeting. Potentially, let's see. Be July. Yeah, they're pricing, it's up to 36% that there's going to be a hike. So if they hike, that's going to change things. That means the real rates will be back into positive territory, which means you're safe to leave your money in a money market as you're beating inflation. Not by much, but it is still beating inflation. Right now, as it sits currently, you're not beating inflation. Time will tell if that ends. I don't think it will stay like that for very long, as long as oil keeps drifting down. I think your real rates are going back into positive territory. I could be wrong, but yeah, I have a lot of money I'm looking to deploy as well. But I'm pretty much on the edge of where I want to be on risk curve wise. I don't really want to deploy a substantial amount of money more into risk. I have enough money tied up in real risky strategies, if that makes sense, that gain a lot of money. But I've been building this not up for a long time. I've started converting trading profits to Bitcoin instead of, instead of putting more money in a money market fund. So I have a substantial amount of money too. I promise you, as soon as I figure out what it is I'm going to do with my money, I'll let you know. I was really hoping that Bitcoin would find support and then get above Michael Saylor's cost basis. If that happens, then I would be interested in putting not all of it, but a small amount of it into STRC. Right now would be a decent time to start building a position. But as long as you're below 90, that's a risk. That's a massive risk. Fong Lee, which is MicroStrategy CEO or COO, whatever. I don't know what his title is, but he's second in command over at Strategy. He bought $1 million worth of this. It's not a flex. It's literally 1 year of salary for him, and that's on the low end. Like, that's the minimum of what he can earn in a year. He makes 1.1 million salary every year, but can, because of bonuses and whatnot, make up to 8.9 million in 1 year. And his total net worth is up there around 100 million. So by him buying $1 million worth of STRC, it's literally less than 1% of his total net worth. Like, give me a break. You know what I mean? Like, that isn't risk. Risk is 5% or more of your net worth. That would show the world something. If what you're trying to do is put faith in this product, you need to put some serious skin in the game. $1 million sounds like a lot to someone that doesn't have $1 million. $1 million to someone that has $100 million is nothing. It's 1%. It's total gamble money. He can lose it all and it wouldn't affect him in the slightest bit. So I don't understand what he was trying to prove with that. So because like that, yeah, it is what it is. I like this and I love the idea of tax deferred 11% annual returns. I love the sound of that. I like the sound of getting paid bi-monthly as well. That's also fantastic. But as long as you're below 90, you are literally risking a catastrophic breakdown. And the more time that this thing spends under 90, the more prevalent that risk becomes. I don't know if people are aware of that. Being under 90 for a day or two, a week or two is fine. Being under 90 for a month or two is tragic. Tragic. So I definitely want to see this bounce back up above 90, and I never want to see it get sub 90 again. Otherwise, I'm content with leaving my money in a money market fund. You know what I'm saying? I don't like losing money. And right now, this thing is way too volatile for me to throw an ass load of money in. But I would love to do it. Eventually, maybe. What does SATA look like? Even it got beat up a little bit the other day. Yeah, this is a problem. When you're this volatile, it's going to be hard to attract that large money market fund. There's almost $9 trillion sitting there. That especially with a negative number on the real rates, it's a very attractive thing, but not if it stays this volatile for very long. It's not good at all. We'll see what happens with it. I think it's going to be fine. I think Bitcoin is showing signs of exhaustion, but we're not seeing large volumes right now. So maybe something sparks. I just don't see anything in the macro, at least in the next 3 months, that's going to change what we have going on here. I needed the Fed. I needed to see what the Fed had to say. Now that I've seen what the Fed has to say, I don't like it. I'm sorry, I don't. I wish I could say something else. I wish I could say, yeah, and instead of being in a money market fund, I'm going to throw all of my money into Bitcoin. First off, I'm not that, crazy. But second off, I'm not a maxi. I'm a trader. And I know me as a trader is not what Bitcoin maxis hate traders. They despise us. But I'm sorry. I am what I am. I can't help it. I had a freaking 9 to 5 years ago. I didn't like that road. This road, I get to work for myself. So screw Bitcoin maxis is the way I look at it. So yeah, but I love Bitcoin. I love what it represents. I love what it is. I do own it, and I am buying it. I am currently accumulating as much of it as is within my risk tolerance. And that's about all I can say. I would love to see it hold support. I want to see it go up. When Bitcoin is going up, everybody's making money. Everybody that owns Bitcoin. And it's much easier for people to make money on Bitcoin when Bitcoin's going up. I'm still making money. I'm fine. But I know people that are just long Bitcoin are not. It feels like it's getting close to being a bottom. But the macro, not good. So if we don't see demand start showing up in Bitcoin soon, I'm going to be concerned about it. I'm still going to buy it. I'm going to continue to buy it. But I don't love it right now. I don't like dollar strength. This dollar strong breaking out, it's not great. Not great. And there's nothing in the near term that's going to change that dollar breakout that I can see. This can happen for the next 3 months. The next 3 months, just straight up. You can see something like this. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. And if that happens, what does Bitcoin and STRC do then? You see what I'm saying? I'm concerned. I am. All right. Warsh's reaction in 2018 was extremely dovish, while Powell was hawkish. He was watching liquidity contract. The guy's sharp. Yeah, he is. He is. I'm glad. He said a few things that I liked in that meeting. I'm glad that they're going to stop milking the market. I'm glad that not so much from him, it's from the other Fed members, right? It seemed like every week, Fed member this person or Fed member that person was saying something and causing volatility in the market. So I'm glad that he's going to shut those. They're no longer going to be able to do that. They're no longer going to be coming out saying anything. No Fed members. That's good. They're going to allow the market to do what it's going to do. I like that. So that's good. Now, if we could just get Donald Trump to delete his Twitter account, that would be another good thing. Then money might come back into Bitcoin. But we got to see inflation get down. Bitcoin is still traded as a risk-on asset. As much as Bitcoin maximalists want to say it's an inflation hedge, it ain't. Inflation has spiked, Bitcoin is down. If it was an inflation hedge, it would be going up. You can call it what it is. What it isn't is an inflation hedge. SpaceX is currently breaking out now, so hopefully you're not short anymore, as I quit trading it a long time ago. I no longer had an edge. But yeah, you're getting that breakout now. Let's see if it came out on volume. It is happening on volume too. So yeah, it looks like that 163.15 target would be hit. I did not get long. I'm not a breakout trader. But you can see how this low is still higher. You know what I mean? Higher lows, breakout. All right. And finally, yep, ran the low. SpaceX ran the lows. Yeah, it did earlier. All right, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you guys Thursday, and for my normal people, you'll see you tomorrow. But I'll be around all day. If you need me, you can holler into Discord. I'm still short Fartcoin. That's it. That's all I have as an open position right now. I mean, currently the Bitcoin long and the silver shorts are still open, but those things are just sitting there doing nothing. In terms of new positioning, I'm short Fartcoin here, seeing if the sellers want to fade this pullback into hopefully resistance. If it does, we'll get paid. If it don't, we'll get stopped. All's good. Make sure you guys trade safe. Make sure you trade smart. And as always, happy trading, everybody.